Okay, Vittorazi versus Minari. Which is the way to go? Vittorazi versus Minari. Well, we brought both, put them side by side. I did thrust tests. We did tests. We flew them back to back to back. Everybody hands down said Minari's better. But it's a very specific model because Minari carries a ton of different units. So there's a very specific lightweight model that they make for us that is exactly the same weight to the ounce as the Vittorazi. So you've got a 200cc Minari for exactly the same weight as the 185. You get more power, plus you get much faster engine response. So when you hit the throttle, the Minari 200 just barks. Just, yeah, hoo-yah. It's got some boonangs to it. Where the Vittorazi is kind of like takes his time spooling up and winds up a little slower. Now, one of the biggest things of Vittorazi versus Minari is the felt torque. The Vittorazi, despite having less power and less engine response, it actually torques much worse. So you've only got about 30% of the felt torque steer on the Minari. Even though it has more power, faster engine response, you have a lot less felt torque steer, which that's a pretty big plus. If you can cancel 70% of your torque steer or whatever, big deal, makes a huge difference. Okay, another big thing is reliability. No motor's perfect. Every motor has their little issues. But Vittorazi has a whole bunch of weird little issues that are just goofy. You're constantly dinking with something and messing with something. And they'll have issues that are really tricky. You pretty much have to take a mechanic to figure it out. Where Minari has been, oh my goodness, it has saved so much time and effort on the service side because it's so simple. Basically, you tighten your belt once in a while, and they both have, like any single cylinder two-stroke, you can't balance it perfectly. So there's a commonality of you can have exhausts that'll crack over time. Now, the failure rate is pretty small, maybe 3-5%, so it's not that big of a deal. But pretty much all the two-strokes on the market that are single cylinder powerful, two strokes lightweight, you can have exhaust crack. The cool thing about the Minari is if you take an exhaust from years ago, it'll bolt right on to a brand new motor. The Vittorazi has changed this and that and the other thing in this bracket and that exhaust, and you can't get this knuckle with that exhaust and this. And there's like umpteen different versions, which are a royal pain in the butt to keep track of which model gets which version that goes with which and which parts match up with. Oh my gosh, it is a royal pain in the butt. So where the Minari, if they come out with a new exhaust, it's backwards compatible. You can put it on any unit. Where the Vittorazi is, oh my goodness, it is a royal pain in the butt. Now, another big one is warranty. Because Vittorazi totally jacked up their supply chain, where you used to be able to, if you had any problem, you come to us, boom, we send you a new one, bam, it's fixed. But they changed their, basically their supply chain. Now, to try and get warranty, you're pretty much screwed. Just forget it. If you get a Vittorazi, forget trying to get spare parts because you got to fill out a warranty card, you got to send it here, and then you got to try and get a warranty from people you didn't buy it from, who bought it through this guy, who bought it through that guy. Royal, just nightmare, pain in the butt. Just based on that alone, I would pick the Minari, because if you have a problem with the Minari, bam, we ship you a new part. That's it, done deal, very simple, very nice. But if you have a problem with the Vittorazi, your warranty's pretty much not gonna happen. So that is a huge difference, because you really need to be able to get service after the sale. That's a big one. But the Minari simply has less issues, where the Vittorazi has more issues. Now, the Minari also puts the head 90 degrees, one of the reasons it has less torque steer, but because the head is completely 90 degrees and sticks out farther with the reduction sticking out farther the other way, so your center of the prop is far from the head as possible, the center mass of your engine. That's what actually counterbalances your torque steer somewhat, as well as how it runs and spins, blah, blah, blah. There's lots of little things that affect it. But another part of that is the head sticks out into the airflow better. With the Vittorazi, the head is at a 45-degree angle, so the head is more sticking up behind your shoulder, so it doesn't get the airflow like the Minari, where it sticks out 90 degrees and pokes out, the head sticks out a little farther, even though the engine is a lot more compact. So the compactness is another big deal. With shipping a Vittorazi, it costs a boatload more money because the box has to be so much bigger. You have to use a much bigger box because the knuckle of the exhaust, or the bend in the exhaust, sticks way off to the side, where Minari very intelligently makes the exhaust come up and down. It keeps a shape where the engines are very compact. So even though the head sticks out here, your exhaust matches up perfectly, and it keeps a very small streamlined package. So when you package it and ship it, you keep the lowest overall cost, which is a pretty big deal, because if you take it anywhere, put it on a plane, the smaller that package, the better, and it's going to cost less for shipping and just not have as much of a dimensional weight issues. So which engine do you get? Hands down, Minari, not even comparable. That is the way to go. Makes it pretty simple. And there's a lot more to it. I could go into zillions of little details, but a lot of it has to do with massive experience. If you get some Joe Jimmy Bob newbie who's flown this one, flown that one, never serviced them for years and years and years and years, they wouldn't understand all the nuances of exactly the types of things that go wrong, and dealing with this and dealing with that, and trying to get spare parts and trying to stock spare parts where parts change, this, that. I can take parts from 10 years ago and it'll bolt right on to a brand new Minari, backwards compatible, even though that's kept perfectly up to date, and they've gotten, they keep making it better and better. It's backwards compatible, so all the parts are compatible, which is very, very nice. Where Vittorazi, oh my gosh, you got to stock like 20 times more parts, because every time they change it, it's got this and that carburetor doesn't go with this engine, and this carburetor, it doesn't go with that engine, and it's like, oh my goodness, it is a royal pain in the butt. Where if all you had was one engine, you wouldn't really understand all those details of trying to get parts, even if you know, even if you throw warranty out the window and just pay for parts. What engine are you buying parts for? You got to know exactly which iteration of which engine, and specifically, again, that's why you buy from Flat Top Paramotors, because some website from some Joe Jimmy Bob isn't going to explain all the details and have all that knowledge of exactly what's what and which goes where and which belt goes with which. With Minari, you got one size. Bam, here's your belt. Vittorazi, you order this belt, you get that belt, and this one has to work with that one, and this reduction has to go with that direct. Oh my goodness. So there's a lot of pieces to it. Bottom line, Superdell flies a flat top 200R with a Minari. If you want the best, you simply fly what I'm flying. Enough said.